Welcome to another episode of Psychotronic Coast to Coast. We watched one of my recent loves, Jack Frost. This is from 1997. Oh my! And Owen, Neil, and I here. We're gonna talk about this terrible yet awesome movie that I love so much and he doesn't so much. And we're gonna talk about why that is. Yes, we are. This film was filmed in 1996. There was a drought in California, so there was no snow that year. And so all the snow you see in this film is fake, of course. And at some points during the filming, the film's like 70 degrees, and everyone's bundled up in thick jackets like it's 30 degrees out. Because it's not really, I'm pretty sure they don't mention anywhere in here, like where Snowman is located. But this town is called Snowman. It's implied as a Midwest town, or a small town, perhaps in the Big Bear area. But remember we were talking about what is this movie? Like, where does this take place? The name of the town, back of the box said Snowman. So
I knew it had snow in it.
like, I was holding it up and talking, and I looked over as I was talking, I was like, Snowman. Oh, the Snowman capital of the Midwest. But just read one more sentence later. So it's supposed to be Midwest community. Hi, we watched the movie, I swear.
Well, I remember
okay,
the town name showed up, like, on screen.
Right, yeah, but it was, like, really early in the movie, and then we watched the rest of the movie, and also other shit happens.
It was during, like, the Snowman Festival or whatever.
Yes, so that's why there's so many snowmen about.
Yeah, the Snowman capital, when there was, like, just a little square in the middle of town that had snow for people to build snowmen, and that was it.
And there's a few snowmen that were clearly fake because, there was no real fucking snow.
And I just realized we never saw the guys covered up snowman.
Oh yeah, we never did.
He covered it up. It was gonna be a big secret for the event.
Dude, I hope when we finally watch Jack Frost 2, they reveal they pull that off, and then suddenly it's, oh my god, he was alive the whole time. Like, he made a duplicate, and we flash back and we see him make a duplicate of himself. And he's like puppeteering that one. Like, oh my god. Like, what happens is you see the arm fall off. Anyway, this is the end of the movie. We see it land, and we don't talk about it for a while. What we do is we cut away, and we see the arm, part of it, break off and roll away.
I don't know how they...
I'm just saying,
obviously he's
that's
still
what
alive.
I would do. Yeah. Obviously, he's still alive because there's a sequel, but, they didn't know that when they're making the movie. Anyway, why don't you take us through this movie before I fucking talk about the end of the movie at this point?
Okay. It starts out, we're introduced to Jack Frost himself, a human killer. He's in the back of a van with this really weird scene because I couldn't get over the really bad fake snow on the windshields.
Because once again, there's no real snow in California at the time, in the location they were at. Because, yes, by the way, there are areas of California that get snow, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, there just happened to be none because of the drought, as previously stated. But yeah, it's basically just snowflakes flying against this car that's clearly on a soundstage, and they're trying to, and they're like, the guy's like driving it like it's like, oh, it's the craziest drive ever.
It was that fake snow you buy and spray on your windows to make it look like frost.
Oh man,
so bad.
The acting is fucking super hammy for this movie. Everyone thinks they're doing a super great job, but really they're all just not. They're all just overacting. It's beautiful. There's a beautiful Army of Darkness Sam Raimi quality to this film. I just love.
Don't insult Sam Raimi like that.
Aww, don't be so mean to this movie.
Anyways, Jack kills the guy in the back with him, and then some other guys carrying some weird sludge of some sort.
This delivery vehicle from a genetics company, which is transporting vehicle, excuse me, not delivery vehicle, is transporting this weird chemical, and the guy's like trying to wrestle with his coffee, and the cars almost collide, but then
they do collide.
Oh, they do collide. I thought they swerve and miss each other.
It's like they go dink, and then boom.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about the ridiculous explosion. Yes. they barely whack each other and then they explode and then yeah. So now Jack Frost is mixed with the chemical essentially.
Yeah, well, he was fine. He got thrown out of the vehicle in handcuffs, but he's
That's
like,
right.
I'm fine.
That's right.
And then the
That's right.
shit sprays in him, and he melts, and then he binds with the snow.
Runs screaming and melting into the snow, and where he dies, supposedly. But
Which was a cool effect of like him melting in his skeleton and stuff.
Really cool effect. But then we all know he does the whole like Ninja Turtles thing. The last thing the mutagen touched, you become that thing. In this case, it's snow.
Well, depending on which one you're following, it's usually the last animal you touch.
I get it. But this is its own thing, so I'm just saying.
In the new Turtles, it was the last thing you touched, so there was a plant guy, so...
Ha! We're gonna go with the new continuity, even though this is an old movie, including we go with the older continuity. Shut the fuck up! Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. But he doesn't kill the guy, the one guy that survives from the crash.
For some reason. We don't
Apparently
know
he just wiggled off into the snow. Because the guy's trying to explain, like, well, he didn't exactly walk away. Because he had no legs. So somehow he becomes snow, but then at some point, I guess the kid did that later. He put on the face. He must have just been a blank snowman with no face up to that point.
Yes, he was just an amorphous snowman blob.
But there is a little flashback of the sheriff who we meet, and he was just a normal little cop, and he just happened to stumble on Jack Frost pissing and arrested him. And he's like, oh, he's a serial killer. So he may end up being like, I think he moved later to this town, right?
Yes, he moved there after all the hullabaloo.
Because that guy was like, I'm gonna get you. I'm Jack Frost.
Somehow, some way, I'm gonna get you. And I go, okay, buddy.
And they never really pointed that out either. He just happened to end up in that town, but he's never like, there was no point where Jack Frost is like, it's you fucker. I'm gonna get you. Like, he never acknowledges that's the guy that arrested him. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I guess so. That was really never mentioned. But it's like, it's almost as if they shot that as an afterword so that, like, he'd have motivation. But
yeah,
they did. But clearly they didn't because, you know, he's talking about... The sheriff throughout the movie is talking about how traumatic the whole thing's been for his family, basically.
Yeah. And then when they figure out the guy says it's Jack, he's like, he's here to get me for revenge, but like Jack never really acknowledges him.
Yeah, never really mentions the revenge part other than he's gonna kill him. But he's gonna kill everybody he meets, pretty much. So like,
yeah,
what's so special about the sheriff? Other than he's got a vendetta, supposedly.
He kills an old man. We don't see that. Freezes him and breaks his neck or some shit.
I think he just freezes him to death.
It kind of stirs up the town. Because it's like, you're like, ooh, we've never had a murder in this town. Oh, town people are going crazy. And when we see some kids bullying the sheriff's son, Snowman pushes the kid, and then a sled slowly rolls over him and
beheads him.
Pops his head off somehow.
It's a great beheading scene. His head just flies through the air. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of whip pans, a lot of ridiculously cartoonish reaction shots, and very Sam Raimi-esque in that manner. I was expressing when we were watching the movie. It feels like, since as I read the trivia, since the idea of the film was thought up in 1989, Michael Clooney, the writer-director, thought this up during the second like slasher boom, right? There's like a little mini boom in there from 87 to 89, right? And then it kind of dies off and doesn't come back again until Scream happens in 96, which is when this movie comes out, because this is in the response to Scream. There's a bunch of slasher films like Dr. Giggles and a million other of these movies that we're probably going to end up watching all of. Shredder, another film, you know, like a bunch of these movies come out, and so in the meantime, I think the director, this is me, just brainstorming off my head, I feel like the director saw Army of Darkness, all the cartoonish reaction and goofiness, and inserted that into the way he directed this movie, even though the script doesn't fit that tone. And so that's why there's this weird clash of like comedy reactions and goofy one-liners, and violent murders and crazy set pieces of like a slasher set pieces. You know, it's kind of a weird mash of those two movies, like a slasher film and an Army of Darkness. That's what I mean by the Sam Raimi. Like it's someone who clearly thought Sam Raimi's ideas were cool, but not necessarily how to execute them the same way or as well. Because Sam Raimi's a fucking master filmmaker, obviously. By that point, he'd honed his goofy craft, you know. Anyway.
Yep.
That was my sidebar that took 5 minutes to get through, but there you go.
Forgot where I was.
Kills the kid, beheaded the kid.
Yeah. So then...
Oh, and then we get a scene where the kid's father, the murdered kid's father, gives the whole kid, you know, upset parent to Brody in Jaws moment, but different because he's an asshole. To the father because his son's a dick. Yeah. Anyway.
Jack kills him, shoves an axe down his throat. The dad of the dead kid.
Yes. Later on, he goes and finishes off his family. Yes.
Kills the mom and shoves Christmas lights around her neck and shoves her face in the balls.
Hold on. You can't just say just kills her mom. She
kills her.
She was walking through the house and she notices a puddle on the floor. And then says her dead son's name and gets sad because she realizes it's not him.
It says the husband's name.
Are you sure it's not the dead son's name? Because she's really sad if she says it.
Positive.
Okay.
Because the kid's name was Billy. She didn't say Billy.
Okay.
Maybe.
My memory's fuzzy. This is why you generally go through the movie, right? I'm bad about these things. Anyway,
it's 50-50.
And then she goes to sit down, and when she sits down, he pops up behind her. He forms through like her window or her door. I can't remember. It's her door. He comes out in through her door, forms up into a snowman while she sits down, and then goes back in the liquid and goes inside the tree.
No.
Didn't
he plugs the tree in.
No, he plugged the tree in. That was before that. As when he raised up behind her.
I mean, he maybe shook the tree, but he does form behind her. She's trying to figure out why the tree went off. And
then he's inside the tree and attacks her.
No, he was behind her and wraps lights around her neck. And then pins her to a tree.
That was after he attacks her. Anyway. Okay.
Pretty sure she doesn't attack her from the tree. Because then he's smashing her head on the ball.
I'm confusing it with Gremlins. Hold on a second. I'm just remembering it's Gremlins I'm thinking of. Okay, sorry, hold on. You're right. He does like crucify her to the tree though, and then yes. I remember he takes a ball, puts it in her mouth, smashes it in her mouth with her face by closing her mouth on it, then takes her face and smashes it into another box of ornaments repeatedly,
over and over and over.
Yeah, it's just it's the most cruel, heartless thing to do to a poor grieving woman who just lost her child, you know, and who doesn't know but just lost her husband.
Ties her to the tree and shoves a star in her head.
Yep.
Now, I thought, because earlier she says, I always wanted to be an angel on top of the tree. I thought he was going to,
spike the tree up her. Right. Kind of the Mutilator style with the gaff hook and the cooch. Yeah.
Maybe they wanted to, and they're like, how are we going to do that?
Yeah, maybe it was like, they're like, I don't know how we're going to execute that. Why don't we just tie her to the tree? Okay, let's just tie her to the tree.
Turn her into a human shrinky dink and shrink her down.
She just put her head on top. That was so easy if you could just put her head on top of the tree. But okay.
There's some really crappy Santa movie where he would kill people and cut their limbs off and put them on a Christmas tree.
Oh my god, we gotta see that movie. We gotta do that with Santa's sleigh. Anyway. And Saint Nick. There's also Saint Nick. We gotta do that one too.
And then the old salt man shows up and sees a snowman and her on the tree and freaks out and just runs away.
Yep. Goes and gets the sheriff, runs to the police station and tells him what happened.
No.
That was a while ago, right? There's a scene or two in between, right?
No. He doesn't. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So now they're investigating.
I remember he runs in at some point. He comes back at some point.
Yeah.
That's what I'm remembering. Anyway.
Now there's some FBI guys there.
Oh yeah, not FBI guys. The sheriff says, "You're FBI, right?" And he goes, "Sure." Basically, just does a yes, we're them, but they're actually from the company whose truck caused the accident. So
yes, It's really confusing though, because one's kind of a nerdy guy who obviously made this stuff, and the other guy's with him. But then, like later in the movie, when he sees these snowmen, he's like, "What the fuck?" and like stops listening to that guy and just starts trying to kill it, even though he's supposed to contain it.
Yeah,
He
well,
just like apparently he didn't know what he was even up against.
he probably didn't think it was some scary fucking man who could turn into hot water, go through any fucking crevice, come out the other side and murder you with no fingerprints and leave with no other traces than liquid. I mean, like, you know, that can scare the shit out of someone and make them think reason like we shouldn't capture this. We gotta kill this thing. Anyway, you can't capture that thing. There's no way you can capture that. You know.
I'm trying to remember what happens next. We just watched it too.
We literally just
I think
watched it.
I think they're in there talking, and that's when the guy shows up and he's just punching the head off the snowman and talking gibberish.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was saying. He comes running after at the police station, I think.
Yeah, but he doesn't go into the police station. He's just like breaking the snowman out front. Being like,
Oh, right, because he's fucking...
snowman.
Because he's lost his goddamn mind. There's a fucking
And then they
snowman
just-
killing people.
That's where the FBI agent or whatever.
Can you
he is
blame this
punches
weird
the guy.
Wilfred Brimley stand-in for freaking the fuck out?
Ah, Wilford Brimley.
It'd been better if it was Wilfred Brimley, but he reminded me of Wilfred Brimley. Pause, I gotta sneeze, hold on. Hold on, I'm gonna do this real quick. Oh god, ow. Charlie horse. Alright, okay. Go ahead.
All right, I'm trying to remember.
So yeah, he comes in raving about the snowman.
Tries to get all the town people to go home. They're in a curfew, and then
Sheriff shows
at
up.
some point they leave, and the guy and the girl are gonna have sex, but then he has to do a bunch of shit, and then he gets stabbed with icicles, and then she gets killed in the bathtub.
That's the daughter and her boyfriend of the...
Yeah.
Or the sister of the boy who was killed, the daughter of the mother and father who was killed,
Yes.
and her boyfriend. And this is
It's
Shannon
kinda-
and Elizabeth, and there's a fucking visual gag where they all take off like 20 layers of clothing
Yeah.
and get to their long johns, and they're both
I
wearing...
didn't care enough to really remember it.
Yeah, and then he is like trying to find wine or whatever, and Jack comes in and kills him. Meanwhile, he's trying to like fend him off with a knife.
He shoots icicles, and then Jack seems surprised by that. He's like, "Hmm."
Like he didn't know
He
he
didn't
could
know
do
he could
that.
do
Yeah. That
and then he
makes sense.
melts into her tub
Yeah, and then he melts
and
into her
forms,
tub.
and she's inside of him, and then I guess he fucks her to death.
I think he's just strangling her. And just
No, he's like just slamming her head against the wall, because his hands are on her butt to cover up her butt,
Yeah.
and then he makes a cum joke and whatever.
Yeah, and
Who
then makes a
cares?
bad slasher joke right afterwards with two jokes. It looks like double one-liner randomly. Like, what? Okay. Yeah, and they're all bad, and it's kind of offensive, but it's the 90s, so it's kind of a different time, you know.
And then at some point they realize it's a snowman, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Yep.
Yeah, I was totally lost in the middle. He's in the police station, right? And they like start dropping bug bombs and
Yes, they go into the armory and pull out all the bug bombs. Apparently, they have like 50 fucking bug bombs, which, in those who don't know what a bug bomb is, it's an aerosol can. Aerosol can's one of those little spray cans, you know, full of chemicals that kills bugs. What you do is you set the bomb, and after 30 seconds or whatever, whoosh, or a minute, it starts emitting its gas like it's got a pressure sensitive lid, and the lid pops and gas comes out, and it fills every crevice of the room and kills anything that's in it. You don't want to be in there with it, basically. But they're doing this so that they could they're also flammable. So you have to turn off your pilot light, your oven, and all the electricity has to be turned off in your house. You know, like, you burn your house down doing this shit. You blow it up. So that's what they're doing. They set them all up. They somehow they have 50,000 of these fucking things, and they fill the the police station out. They climb out. My favorite part is they close the door of the window. They all jump out, and Jack smacks the window, but doesn't break it, even though he clearly could just smash through it and then flow out of it like water. Like,
yeah, because earlier the doctor was like, it's like, whoever shoved his axe down his throat is extremely strong.
Superhuman. Yeah, it was animal. It was an animal, metaphorically speaking. Anyway, like you said, everyone's hamming it up in this movie. Everyone thinks they're doing the best fucking work ever, and it's just, yeah, guys, you know.
Yeah, shoots it, explodes, and then he comes out all fucked
The
up.
whole gas station blows up. He comes out.
Gas station.
That's that gas. Police station. Police station.
Police station full of
Filled
gas.
gas. That's why my brain did that. Yeah.
But he comes out like he reformed wrong, and he's like, "I'm Picasso."
His arms on his head, and his head's on his like armhole, with the nose on his chest, and his eyes on his leg or his thigh or whatever. Yeah, he's all over the place.
So they come up with a
Swears
new plan,
vengeance to come back when after he's done reforming himself.
and they lure him into the town hall. All the townspeople have hair dryers, which pushes them into a giant furnace, and yeah, he's dead. Everyone celebrates. And then the two guys that are in on it are down there, and he pops out and kills them. Eats some of those icicle teeth.
Evaporates into water and goes up into the air.
Yeah. So they're both dead.
And he reforms once he gets into the sky because he refreezes, right? So I mean, it makes sense.
And he goes after the sheriff.
One molecule of water is left, he would still be alive, technically, right? So
he goes after the sheriff and his son. And some reason the son made, I think he was supposed to be those no-bake cookies where it's like chocolate and oatmeal, and you just
he made some no-bake cookies for his dad because of the Christmas
which he didn't eat. The dad, for some reason, throws it on Jack, and then all of a sudden it's burning him. He's like, "What'd you put in?" And the kid's like, "Antifreeze, because I didn't want you to be cold."
Which is like, "Oh, I made a joke. Oh, you were gonna kill your family! Hooray!" It was great. It's pretty funny.
No one ate that shit.
I know. So then they go.
This actually hurts Jack.
Yes.
Half his face is melted and it's bloody and there's shit.
It's gore hanging out of it. And, yeah. So this inspires them to go raid the hardware store, and where they have this stupid Looney Tunes moment where he breaks through the Looney Tunes background and grabs the fucking antifreeze, and it's like, oh Lord.
And that is the guy that was crazy delivering salt.
Oh, pause for a minute. At the very beginning, when they had a car accident and the explosion happened, there's a really neat animated sequence where you see his cells merge with the chemical. It's like traditionally animated.
Shit.
It was pretty cool. I don't know what you're talking about.
So if the guy getting antifreeze wasn't wacky enough, now the sheriff is in an apartment building hitting doors with people like, "We're busy," and you hear a goat sound. Like, he's fucking a goat. Hilarious.
Telling people to get underneath the bed. You hear people, get under the bed, quick.
What? That one was probably children.
Oh, Lord. I don't want to think about it.
But yeah. So, Jax gets an ice cube coming out of his belly. I thought it was his ice cube penis, but there's icicle.
Random icicle. From
and he's going to apparently hug the sheriff to death. But the sheriff is
stabbed him in the
not
heart
dead.
with his icicle.
And then they back up the truck because the guy dumped all the antifreeze into a makeshift redneck pool in the back of his truck.
Yeah, they poured all that's what they did. They put tarps from the hardware store in the bed of the truck. Sorry, hit my mic. And then they fill the back of the truck with antifreeze, and he hears the honking, and he grabs Jack, runs and jumps out the window and dives into the antifreeze.
And then fucking does a little wrestling match, dropping elbows and fists on his melting Snowman Corpse. And then I also mentioned, like, hey, his arm fell off.
Yep.
I thought that would have been set up for the sequel, but the kid's like, "You forgot this," and it wraps around the kid's face. So the mom just starts to fucking dunking the kid into the antifreeze.
He just dunks the kid head first in antifreeze. Yep.
Empty all the antifreeze back in the antifreeze bottles and then bury it in the cemetery.
Yep. And then you're peeking underground, and you can see it boiling under the ground and him laughing or whatever, or screaming. You can't remember which. Anyway.
It was bubbling.
Yep.
And then all the cavalry that was called in from the other two show up.
Yep. Late as usual.
And there you go. I think we get all of it.
Yeah, that was all the key moments. That was like, there was a lot of like filler talk and how this is possible and how to defeat him and how to contain him and who gives a fuck. The whole point is, you guys around killing people, they try to stop them. We get all the major points.
But I want to go back to, he didn't know the fucking sheriff even was there. And then he never even mentioned it, like, you fucker.
Yeah, I
You
know,
put me
right?
in jail. It's
He
just
never
like,
did.
he just happened to be in that town where the car
It's a
crashed.
fair criticism that is never mentioned again. Other
He
than
should have
that,
been
he
like,
clearly hates the
you.
sheriff. That was it. He just hates the sheriff. We know he hates the sheriff because he's just constantly trying
But
to
the
kill the sheriff.
sheriff was making it all about him. He came for me. He came for me, guys. And he should be like, who are you?
Who is he?
I
Why?
threaten people every day. I don't remember you.
Yeah.
And the sheriff should have been sad, like, oh, I thought he came for revenge.
Anyway, it was. I like the movie. I really enjoy it. There's this awesome. Rah, rah. It's fucking cool. Did that come up on the cheap camera for you? Hold on.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow, that cheap camera does not. There.
That doesn't even happen in the movie.
Yeah, he does. He bites the guy with the.
Yeah, but he has still
He
has a
says-
carrot nose and normal eyes.
Oh well,
Not a
that's just.
skull nose.
That's because it's the artist rendering. But yeah, he does. He bites the deputy and tells him something about frostbite or eating him to death or whatever.
Yeah, the guy that made the sludge.
Oh yeah, it was the scientist guy. That's right. The annoying scientist guy who wanted to capture him and not kill him gets eaten to death by Jack Frost.
Because he made the sludge that was like, oh, we can live forever if we have this stuff on us. We die and then we become another thing.
You know, I was so
It's
wrapped
like
up
what?
in the movie because I really like this movie. That I forgot to mention the parts you should totally gift. Damn it! You got to go through and gift some stuff from this.
Ugh, okay.
I gotta get at least one or two of the kills, man. Fun stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I could have done without the terrible snowman one-liners.
Yeah, the terrible.
So
I love them.
bad.
They're hilariously
So
bad.
bad.
But they are bad. But they're funny bad. I'd like laugh my ass off. I was laughing.
You know how cringe comps are popular? It should just be all the fucking one-liners from this movie.
What do you think of this movie? Rated? What do you think?
I want to hear your rating first.
I rate it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I really like this movie. It's hugely flawed, but it's kind of endearing in some weird, like, they tried too hard to make two different kinds of movies, shoved them together, and then here we go. And everyone's acting way too hard.
I'd give it a 2.
Yeah, different opinion.
I did like how overall that the actors were taking it seriously.
You have to admit, on a quality level, it is far beyond most of the movies we've seen on this show.
Yes.
Even if you didn't like it, you gotta admit, it's at least a better movie than most movies we watch on this show, and that's fun.
It had a little bit of like an Airplane feel, where like they were playing it pretty much straight, except for the snowman who was over the top wacky.
Yeah. So yeah, I really liked it. You can check it out. The slipcover is sold out, but you can get the regular standard lenticular case or non-lenticular case edition on Amazon. You should definitely check it out. And what are we watching next week?
Either Blood Tracks or Iced.
Okay, there we go. I think we were talking about Iced because it has the slasher film, right?
Yeah.
So
The skier slasher.
Anyway, so yeah.
I'd still put it with a Shredder myself.
Well, I'm Shredder either. Apparently, I didn't.
I'm just saying. Shredder.
I need another copy of
slasher.
Shredder. I used to have Shredder and Breeders and a few other movies I never apparently packed up. So
I'm just saying it would go better than with Jack Frost.
Oh,
it's 2 skiing slasher movies.
I'm sure. So we'll see you next week or the next episode for Iced or Blood Tracks. Take it easy, guys. Peace.